Olá a todos, eu sou o Diogo Brás e bem-vindos a mais um vídeo. Hoje estamos à conversa com Simon Littlewood, médico dentista, especialista em ortodontia e conta consigo já uma vasta experiência clínica, inúmeras publicações e palestras em congressos internacionais. Maybe it's time to introduce you and welcome everybody to our conversation. We are talking with Simon Littlewood, and he's a keynote speaker at our 30th Congress. You're going to give your keynote at November 4th, if I'm correct.
That's
November
right,
4th, 11:30. So we're talking earlier about nowadays with traveling abroad, how difficult it is to travel, and we've seen as well that 2021 has been really a comeback year to face-to-face meetups, dental meetings, and congress. How have it been for you? How are you experiencing it? Do you attend to meetings or congress this year already?
Yeah, actually not yet, but just about to. The British conference is in September, and that'll be the first face-to-face. We've done lots of Zoom type meetings like this, but it loses something. I think it's the ability to meet the speakers afterwards, have a chat. For me, I learn loads at conferences, not from my own talks, but from hearing the other lecturers, and not just hearing the lecturers in the lecture itself, but talking to them afterwards. And I love it when the delegates come up and chat afterwards and ask questions. And I think that's much harder to do virtually. I think there's also something about the camaraderie as well, isn't it? About bringing everyone together for a big event, a celebration of our profession. It's difficult to run a conference. I think the Portuguese organisation should be congratulated about being brave enough to go ahead and run these conferences. But I think it will work. I know the British one that we've just about to run in September, there's been an enormous amount of interest with people wanting to come back and meet up. And we're actually giving people the opportunity to either come in person or come virtually. And it's much more popular to come in person. People are wanting to come up and meet with colleagues. So I think we've done quite a lot of this sort of thing over Zoom, and it's been a reasonable substitute. And in certain areas, it can be helpful. But for the big conference, the big get together, I think there's nothing really that substitutes the big face-to-face meeting.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree with you more. And actually, it's the same case with here at Portugal. We have the both possibilities, but there's generating a much more interest to come down personally to the Congress and attend. And actually, I don't know, but maybe I see our profession like a little bit lonely. We work between four walls, and at the end of the day, we really need that camaraderie and meet our colleagues. And I think that's pushing this year, especially, it's pushing us even more to attend to meetings and congresses.
Oh, I think so. I think humans are naturally social animals, aren't they? We want to get together. We want to interact. I think there's a educational side as well. I think there's a danger when we stay in our own surgery. We start to stick to what we're doing, and before long we start to drift away from what's the best contemporary or the best up-to-date treatment. And when we come to meetings and interact and we chat to people, we start to think, oh, well, perhaps I should be doing that, or perhaps I've just fallen behind a little bit. So I think it's good from a safety point of view for our patients as well. Purely from a selfish point of view, it's just great fun, isn't it? Just getting together and meeting up with people and interacting and socializing.
And talking about fun and socializing, I'm sure as a frequent speaker as yourself, you have many fond memories of other congresses and meetups. Do you remember, or which moment you cherish or you have the fondest memories of?
Wow. Well, I've been lucky enough to speak in about 24 different countries. So
Wow.
they are so different, obviously. And one of the great things of being a guest at these places is being taken out and shown things in the country, people, the local guests showing you what's special about their country. It's really hard to pick out one, but I guess I'm a bit of a runner in my spare time, and the Singapore organization, their Congress, do a special run in the morning. It's so warm there, of course. They do a run early in the morning around the fantastic scenery around their city. So I think that early morning run in Singapore, where everybody comes out, so they give all the delegates T-shirts, even the people who regard themselves as not runners. So it becomes a walk if you're not a runner.
Yeah.
So that was great fun, and it's something for people to talk about afterwards, and people come into the day a bit more refreshed. We tried it in the UK actually, but the weather is not quite as good in England, so we didn't get quite the turnout that we hoped. So it's kind of dropped away from the British conference. But I think any event that takes the delegates away from the main lecture theatre is helpful as well. And the truth is, although it's a social event, people are still talking about work, they're still updating, they're still learning things as well. So almost by accident, you're educating yourself at these events as well as enjoying it as well. So I think those sort of social events away from the main auditorium are always great fun as well.
Yeah, for sure. And it's you tell us that you're a runner. So my next question was exactly about our hobbies, because our professional time, I think it takes a lot of a good percentage of our daily time, and really need to relax and live our lives and have some hobbies. You told us that you're a runner, and I don't know if with COVID, did you picked up any new hobbies, or you just continue running?
Yeah, well, I'm a massive fan of sport. So as we speak now, we're in the middle of the Olympics at the moment. So I'm completely hooked on the Olympics, and previous to that, the Euros, because I'm a massive football fan. That's my sport really, but I'm a little bit old for that now. My son plays football now, and as he's now better than me, that was a message to me to stop playing football. I've just had to step back from the football, and I'm a keen fan. And of course, in England, we're still celebrating the fact that we actually managed to get further than Portugal this time in a Euros, which almost never happens. So we're very happy about that. I'm sure it'll be back to normal soon, and Portugal will be flying again soon. So in terms of new hobbies, well, in terms of the running, of course, was one of the things that we could do during COVID. So what I made myself do was every Saturday morning run a half marathon every Saturday. So that was my one bit of exercise each week. Not fast, but just enough just to keep me going. And like all exercise, of course, once we get going with it, it just gets easier and easier each time. And strangely, one of the advantages of COVID, of course, is that other things stopped happening. So we had a bit more free time to spend with family and doing things like the runs as well. So that actually is beginning to drop away now, because in UK, things are getting much better now. Vaccines are really high, so things are opening up. So I'm not doing as much of the running. So strangely, I'm less fit now. As the COVID comes down, my health has come down as well, because I can go out and go for a meal and meet up with friends as well. So I think it was really the running that kept me going actually during the lockdown time. It was like everywhere. It was almost a complete lockdown at times, but we can really see things opening up now. I think it's something like 90% of the population in the UK have had at least one jab now. Okay. So we're nearly there with the majority of people having the vaccinations. And as other countries do well like this, we'll start to open up across the world, I think.
That's so more reassuring to go out knowing that almost everybody is already fully vaccinated, of course. And as I was thinking that as a runner, do you usually geek out with smart watches and check your all the stats, or you just run?
There we are, Mr. Apple Watch. It's there. I'm not sure how healthy that is. The obsession with steps and calories, and it's really helpful from a running point of view, of course, to know how far you're pushing yourself. The heart rate on there is great as well. So I did the New York Marathon about 2 years ago now, 2.5 years ago. And I bought the watch for the training for that. And it was priceless, actually, because before then I was trying to kind of work out how far I was running. And this, of course, tells you everything of what you're doing. So
yeah, that's
a touch of the orthodontist in me, I think. As you know, orthodontists aren't normal people. They're obsessed with details, a little bit odd. I know all dentists would say that orthodontists are a little bit strange, and actually, as an orthodontist, even I would agree with that. And an obsession with figures and numbers and details. So the smart watches were built for idiots like me, I think.
I was going to tell you exactly that, because I think it matches an orthodontist, just to check, plan everything, get the stats, check the previous runs, how's the pace going, how's the is it VO max, or is it VO max, or
V2 max? Yeah,
V2
to see
max.
how going. Yeah. My wife says orthodontics isn't a skill, it's a disease, because we're so obsessed with minor details. I think she's right.
We talk about downtime and holidays. Usually on holidays we tend to relax a little bit. Do you usually give in to some innocent or simple guilty pleasures that you're a little bit embarrassed to tell us right now, but you're going to tell us anyway?
Okay, well, as no one's listening, I guess I can say that now. Well, I don't know if it's a guilty pleasure, but my family are really musical, so wherever we go, we try and go to the theatre and see some musicals. So wherever we travel, we will have a look to see if there's a local musical happening. I don't know if it's a guilty pleasure, but that's what we would enjoy doing. I guess it's finding the time to do that normally, but when you're away, you have a bit more time. So when we travel, the first thing I do is look to see what musical events are on locally and try and catch that while we're away.
And you usually you talk about your you and your family when you're away, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So cool.
So when we go away, it's sport and music really for our family. So we would normally choose somewhere sunny to go to in the summertime. And you and I were talking earlier that August, as we're talking now, is the month where in the UK we would normally go away to go and chase the sunshine somewhere.
Yeah.
Portugal, of course, is one of the popular places for Brits normally to go on holiday, and I'm sure that will return big time as soon as it fully opens up. So we would be going away normally at this time of year to somewhere sunny, like somewhere along the Mediterranean, to catch a bit of sun for a bit of sport and music.
Yeah, so good to hear that. And everybody goes on board. You don't have any discussions about what to do, or everybody's quite at ease with that decision.
There's me, my wife, and my son. I would probably say that I'm the third person of importance. So I think I'm just a sponsor of the rather than anything else. Actually, luckily, we like the same things, so usually there's not too many arguments.
So good to hear that. Okay, Simon, and to all the people that are listening to us, if I asked you to do a little shameless plug to come to see you on November 4th, what do you will like to tell us about?
Okay, yeah, well, so I've been kindly invited to speak about orthodontic retention, which is kind of my baby topic, the one that I'm usually asked to talk about. But orthodontic retention, of course, the idea of holding on to the result at the end of orthodontics, is one of those topics that affects every single patient in orthodontics. So for us as orthodontists, but also patients and also dentists who look after patients who had orthodontics, it applies to all these patients. Sometimes when we talk about topics in dentistry or orthodontics, it only applies to some patients. Orthodontic retention applies to all orthodontic patients. So there's real impact of not only looking after retainers, whether it be bonder retainers or removable retainers, but how we replace them, the problems we need to look out for. And also there's a lot of new evidence that's come out about retention and how to keep our teeth straight. So many people maybe in the audience will have had orthodontics themselves, and I guess they'll be interested to know what's the best evidence about how to keep our teeth still. For us as orthodontists, receiving referrals from dentists, it's really important to us that the dentists understand the orthodontic retention as well, because they're the most important people. They're the people that are sending the correct patients to us. And if patients aren't interested in wearing retainers or don't understand them, it will compromise the results. So I guess it's one of those topics that's vital for all orthodontic patients. We just have a short time to talk about it. I'll try and throw in a few stories, a few entertaining anecdotes as well, but mostly there'll be some good clinical stuff in there for people to take away based on the best current evidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if I have to say so, this year it was a well-picked theme to the Congress that's focusing mostly on solving clinical problems, and the aim was just to pick the right keynotes to have a very practical and practical mindset, and maybe if our colleagues go back home with already some key points to immediate start thinking in a different way or working in a different way. And I have to say so, although I'm not an orthodontist and I don't understand much about orthodontics, I have to say that your keynote really interests me. And it's like you said, it's something that even to GPs are going to see patients that have orthodontic treatments and have some retainers, maybe some right retainers. There's a right way, there's a wrong way, maybe there's a retainer that's loose or broken, and I think everybody is going to take advantage of your keynote, and I'm really looking forward to hear you on November 4th.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to be there. You're right about having information to take away. I think when we come to a conference and lecture, you need to leave that lecture theatre thinking, oh, that's something new, and I can put that into place straight away. And I'm aware of that. I'm not going to try to tell people really complex stuff. This is going to be information that actually I can change things a little bit now. I can go back and I can tweak things and improve things and understand a little bit better. And there'll be some proper clinical tips to take away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Simon, I think we're going to leave the conversation right here so people get curious and go to November 4th to our Congress in Braga. And I hope you to meet us again in Braga. Okay?
Great. Well, thanks very much, and thanks for the chat.
Yeah, thank you so much.